Most Cricut beginners start with HTV, but is it actually the best option for colorful shirt designs? Let's compare it to Sublimation and Print Then Cut. So what you see on my screen right now is the design that we're going to create, and we're going to create it with Sublimation and then also printable heat transfer paper. Also going to talk through trying to recreate this design with HTV. But first, what I've already done is to go ahead and download this design, right? So I already have this design on my computer. Here it is right here. I downloaded it from Creative Fabrica. I'll have the link put down below in case you would like to download it as well. So first, we're going to start with the printable heat transfer paper. So what we're going to do, come over into Cricut Design Space. You're going to open up a new canvas, and then you're going to click on the upload button, upload image, and then browse. So we're going to find that image that I just showed you, and we're going to bring it into Cricut Design Space. Okay. So that is the image. It's a large image, and it's going to take just a little bit of time. So give me just a second. Okay, so over here they have some related content. You can ignore that. Over here, this is the actual design that we just uploaded. So I'm going to click on the continue button in the bottom right corner, and then it's going to ask me to remove my background. There is no background on this image. Whenever you're doing, print then cut or sublimation, honestly, anytime you're bringing in an image into Cricut Design Space, you want to get rid of the background immediately because you probably are not going to use that background. So this is the image. I'm going to use this button right here, preview single layer, to show you that there is no background. So turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. Okay. And so again, let me turn it on one more time. So you can see there's no background. I can see my entire design, right? Now, one thing I do want to point out is if we were going to try to create this with heat transfer vinyl, or heat transfer vinyl, yeah, you're going to have to basically put all this together yourself, all the different colors, the stars, the patterns, all of that. Going to get into that in just a second. But again, there's no background here. So click apply and continue in the bottom right corner. And what's going to happen now is we're going to choose the flat graphic option. This is the option to print then cut. Okay, that's very important. And then we're going to click the continue button here. And we're just going to rename the project right here in case I want to use this file for something else later. So I'm going to put in Leopard Mama 1 and click the upload button in the bottom right corner. We get a message that's saying it's a large file again. So give me just a second. All right. So here's another related content pop-up. I'm going to click on this little arrow right here to close out of that panel. Now let's click on the size. So right now this image is 23 inches large, which is very large. I'm just going to reduce it to 3 inches. So now you can see it on my entire screen. Now, if your Cricut Design Space looks different than mine, it's because I'm using the beta mode right here. This allows me to get those new features whenever Cricut Design Space releases them. But if you don't want to get all those new updates, you can stay in the live version. And whenever those things have actually been implemented in Cricut Design Space, they will appear in your live versions. Okay, so anyway, what I want to do right now, because this is the printable heat transfer paper, is that I want to put a border or an offset around this design. Because if I don't, the Cricut is going to cut this out separately. So this star, that star, that star, that star, all these different stars are going to cut separately. And I'm going to have to piece them together on my shirt. I'm going to have to place everything the way it should go on my shirt. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is to put an offset on this design. So what I'm going to do is to click on this effects button. And again, if your toolbar looks different than mine, it may be, there may be an edit button up here in the top and you'll have to click on that, then go down to offset. Again, I'm using the beta version of Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to click on effects and then offset. Now this blue line that's around my design, it shows me what my offset or my border around my design is going to look like. If you slide this dial to the right, it's going to make that offset larger. Okay. If you slide it to the left, it's going to make it smaller. But what I want to do is keep sliding it to the right to make sure that all of these blue pieces kind of touch a little bit. If I slide it too far to the right, it's still going to cut these pieces separately, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to slide to the right. Just keep moving it till you get to a place where you feel comfortable. I think earlier it was like 0.069. I think I like how this looks. So I'm going to click the apply button. And it always, changes the color of your offset to gray. Before we change the color, what I want to do is you can see these white spaces inside of here. I want to get rid of those because I don't want the Cricut to cut those out. In the bottom right corner, you're going to click on the contour button, okay? And then you're going to click on hide all contours. So it basically fills in all of those little gaps and then click apply. Okay. So those white spaces are now gone. From here, what you want to do is change the color of your offset. So you can change it to whatever color you want it to be, brown, black. I'm going to click on advanced. Let me go back to brown. I'm going to click on advanced down at the bottom. And I'm just going to find a color that I like. So I'm looking for like a beige color. Let me keep going. Okay. I think I kind of like how that looks. Again, your preference, do what you feel is best for your design. And the last thing we need to do here is to basically select our entire design. You can do that over in the layers panel too by clicking one layer and holding down the command button and selecting all layers that you want to select. And then, as you can see, both of them are selected because they're highlighted in green. What you want to do is to go down to the bottom and click the flatten button. This is going to basically merge those two different layers together. And my Cricut is only going to cut around the beige layer, okay? One last thing I want to do is to resize this design to be 3 inches again because I added that border on and I made it a little bit larger. So I'm just going to change the width to 3 and we are good to go. So always save your project. I recommend doing that. So let me just go ahead, leopard mama, and then hit save. Okay. And all right, click on that banner to make it move and then click the make button in the top right corner and you're gonna get a preview here. So this is a preview of our design. If you wanted to, you can make multiple copies so you can fill up the entire paper so you're not being wasteful, but I just wanna do this as an example for you all. So I'll click on the continue button and here I'm gonna click on send to printer. You're gonna make sure you choose the right printer. I'm gonna choose my regular printer, which is my inkjet printer. For this project, you need an inkjet printer, okay? No laser printer, inkjet printer, okay? So I'm gonna turn off my bleed, turn on use system dialog, and then click print. So I'm gonna get a pop-up screen in just a second, and it's gonna allow me to choose my printer again and some other things. So again, I'm using my regular inkjet printer, my Epson EcoTank 2850. I absolutely love it. Down here for media and quality, I'm going to change my media type to photo matte paper and the quality automatically adjusted to be best. Okay. So from here, I'm just going to click the print button and I'll show you in just a second what I'm going to do on my Cricut or on my printer. I'm going to go ahead and connect to my Cricut machine here too. And then I'm going to show you the material that I'm going to select on the screen once this is done. Okay, so for the material, I'm going to choose a printable iron-on dark. If you don't see this option, it's because you have not bookmarked it. And you'll just click on Browse All Materials. And then in the top, you'll just type in printable. And then you can see printable iron-on dark, printable iron-on light, sublimation. I'm just going to choose the dark option, choose whichever one you feel is best for you. From here, I'm going to show you my printer printing out the design and, me putting it onto the mat to cut it out and all of that as well. Okay, so now we're going to get into sublimation. So with sublimation, again, with the design that I have, so this is the design for you to remember. If I wanted to, you don't need to pull this into Cricut Design Space at all. You can literally just print from your Finder window. So what I'm going to do is to open this up and show you a couple things real quick, but I'm also going to show you like how to use Canva in case you want to like resize your design and all of that. So if I wanted to just print it, whatever size it is, I don't know what size this is currently. What I would do is to just click File and then click Print. And on this pop-up, make sure I have the right printer selected. And then I'm going to go down. I'm using you can change your paper size right here. So I also have that 8.5 by 14 paper right here. I could choose that, but that's pretty large and I have a lot of white space left over on this side. Just gonna go back to the 8.5 by 11 paper. And then what I would do is to change the media. So I would change the type to matte, and then it's gonna change to the quality to best. And then one last thing you need to do here is to basically flip your design or to mirror your design. Let me see how I do that. Okay, so what I had to do was to click flip horizontally. And now, as you can see over here, this design is mirrored. And then I would click print at the bottom, right? Okay, so I'm not going to do that here because this design is way larger than what I needed to do or to be. And I'm just going to hop over to Canva to show you how to resize it. And also, if you wanted to put multiple on a sheet, I'm going to show you how to do that too here in Canva. So here I am in Canva. The size of this paper is 8.5 by 11 right here. And what I'm going to do is to go ahead and upload that design file. So I'll click on upload and then just click on my downloads and find that image and click open. And you can see it's been down or uploaded right here. So I'm going to click on that image and this is the image. So what I'm going to do is to resize it to be 3 inches. Okay, so this is 3 inches, just like the other one that I did in Cricut. Now, if you wanted to make duplicates so you could fill up the entire paper, you can do that as well. Just click on the little duplicate button, or you can right click and click duplicate as well. That's an option for you too. So I just wanted to show you how to do that in Canva if you wanted to. I'm just going to delete those. And now it's time to download. So I'm going to click the share button. Then I'm going to click the download button. And then you want to make sure that you have transparent background turned on. Now, this is for Canva Pro users only. So if you wanted to still be able to do this, you don't have Canva Pro, you wanted to use something free, you could use like Google Slides to kind of build a sheet or a platform that's 8.5 by 11. You could use Microsoft Word or anything like that that's free. I know Microsoft Word isn't free, but like Google Slides or something like that, or any other platform that you want to use to resize your design and then, download it with a transparent background. Anyway, moving on. What I'm going to do is to click the download button here. And then I'll just save it as Leopard Mama, save. And all I need to do is to open up my Finder and open that up. You can see what it looks like now. So I'm going to click File and Print. One more thing, real quick. Let me cancel out of it. If you wanted to go ahead and flip it here or mirror it here in Canva, you can do that too. All you need to do is click on your design and let me move my zoom thing. Okay, click on your design and click flip. Flip horizontal. So you could do it here and then just download this too, because it's going to already be mirrored for you. Okay, so let me go back over and open up my Leopard Mama, click File, and then click Print. And then again, make sure you have your inkjet printer selected. And then I'm going to scroll down. I have the right paper size, going to scroll down even more. Media type, going to change that to photo matte, change the quality to best. And then I'm going to hit the print button and it's going to start printing for me. So again, from here, I'm going to show you what the print looks like when it's coming out of the printer. Also going to, hop over, show you all the supplies that I'm using and details for the papers that I'm using as well. Okay, so first let's talk about the design, right? So this is the sublimation design. All right, and remember, you have to mirror your sublimation design. This is the sublimation paper that I'm using, the A-sub, and this paper is 8.5 by 14 inches. So if you want to see what that looks like, this is the sublimation paper that I use. It's 8.5 by 14 inches. If you flip it over, they do have instructions on, time, temperature, and pressure as well. So again, this is the A-sub sublimation paper that I'm using. This is the printed design right here. And again, you have to mirror your design when you're sublimating, okay? So the next design is what I'm gonna print then cut with my Cricut machine. So I have not cut it just yet. I'm gonna show you that in just a second. So this is the design, and remember I had to put that beige border around the design, okay? And this is that Our Dreams heat transfer paper, and this is what the paper looks like in its packaging, okay? So I got this off of Amazon. This is the dark. I'm actually gonna press it onto a light colored shirt, see how that looks and how that works. And it tells you can cut with your Cricut or any other cutting machine, and also scissors as well. Gonna flip it over. This is just what the back side looks like. They do have instructions too for like time, pressure, temperature, all those things. So these are the instructions that come in the package. Also have instructions for if you're using an iron, an easy press, and then also a regular heat press too. I'm gonna attempt to do this with my little mini press. I do have my HTV Runt easy press too. Because these designs are so small, I was like, I just wanna try my mini press and see how that's gonna work. But yeah, so that's that part. And again, sublimation, mirror, this is regular Cricut. And then, or regular heat transfer or printable heat paper. And then finally, if we wanted to recreate this design or these designs with regular heat transfer vinyl, I told you before, you're gonna need to have all of these colors. So all the colors that are in your design, you're gonna need to have those on hand. So that design has some gold or yellow. You have to have some yellow heat transfer vinyl. Again, this is if you're gonna use heat transfer vinyl to make this project, okay? So again, this is printable heat transfer paper. This is sublimation. This is heat transfer vinyl or iron-on. You're gonna need to have all these colors. So all these colors here, you're gonna need to have them on hand. So you would need a yellow. You would also need a black. You would also need a beige, as you can see I have here. You also would need a brown. It's kind of tightly tucked up in there. You would need a black. So you would need all those colors, and you would have to individually cut out the different pieces and shapes and then assemble them together. Now for the leopard print part, they also have printable or heat transfer vinyl that has patterns like this. So they come in a lot of different patterns. So I could, you know, for the heart and for the mama, I could easily cut that out with this. But if you don't have this, you would need to have black. You would need to have beige. You would also need to have brown. So you can see how using heat transfer vinyl really takes a lot of time. Now, one more thing I want to point out too, before we start cutting, is that you could also get these designs like this printed for you using DTFs. So I have this bag here where I ordered some DTFs from Cricut, the company, and they shipped them to me. And all that I needed to do was to just press them onto my bag. Now, you don't have to order through Cricut. There are plenty other platforms that you can order from. I order from Jiffy. I also order from local print shops here where I live. So just go online, Google DTF print shop near me, and you're gonna find a print shop. Obviously read the reviews, check out their social media before you make a purchase. So again, if you don't want to have to invest in a sublimation printer or invest in a Cricut machine, you can just go online, find your designs, have companies print them off for you. All you need to do is just press them, okay? So I just wanted to show you that really quickly. But now what I'm about to do is to go ahead and have my Cricut machine to cut this out. I do not need the Cricut machine to cut this out because with sublimation, you don't have to cut around your design. And that's amazing. I'm gonna show you in just a second. So gonna load this into my Cricut machine so it can cut around that beige area. And then I'm just gonna cut this little block out of my sublimation printer. If I wanted to fill this whole page up with, you know, little designs like this or any other design, I could have done that as well. So let's hop over to cut out this design here. Okay, so I have my Cricut mat here. And again, this is the printable heat transfer paper. Just gonna put it down on the mat, smooth it out. Okay. Alrighty, so let's load this into my Cricut machine. Okay, so the Cricut has cut around our design, and I just wanna, let me just peel this off. Okay, set that to the side. And now let me show you the shirt that I'm gonna be using. I'm gonna be using a 100% sublimation shirt, or 100% polyester shirt. As you can see here, I got this one from Michaels, but you can also find them online, you know, Amazon, Jiffy shirts, just about any shirt that's, or any company that sells craft stuff, you can find them. And let me just lay it out for you. So as you can see, this has been my test shirt for all things sublimation. So I have this design, that one, this one. I forgot to mirror this one, but I have this mini or the ducks. The ducks from Mickey Mouse. I can't remember their names right now. And then I also have this Mickey and Minnie and SpongeBob too. So this is gonna be the shirt that I use to put both of my designs on. And again, I have my sublimation design, also have my printable heat transfer paper design. I'm not gonna use the HTV because I don't have time for that, guys. And you probably don't have time for it either. But I just used the HTV to show you like how time consuming that would be to try to recreate this design with heat transfer vinyl. If you have the time, please go and do it. If you don't, you have other options available, okay? So what I want to do now is I have this cardstock, and I'm just gonna stick it inside of the shirt, because whenever you are sublimating, you wanna make sure that you put something inside of the shirt so that the shirt or the design does not bleed through, because it's ink, remember? So if you don't put a barrier in here, then your ink is gonna bleed through to the back side of your shirt, okay? So, and I'm just gonna randomly place these designs on this shirt. As you can see, I've already done. So I'm just gonna stick this one here. That's where I'm gonna put my sublimation. I'll probably put the printable heat transfer somewhere else. But again, I told you, I'm gonna use my Cricut mini press, and hopefully I'm able to apply enough pressure. But what I'm doing right now is to just heat up the area to get any wrinkles out. I'll do the same thing over here. This is where I'm gonna put the other design. If you have a lint brush, lint roller, you probably want to use that too to get any lint off of your shirt. And two, I do have a piece of parchment paper. Now when it comes to sublimation, you probably want to get that, you probably want to get some, the heat resistant tape too, just to make sure your design doesn't move. So let me grab that real quick. Okay, so this is the heat resistant tape that I'm going to use for sublimation, okay? But I'm going to start with my printable heat transfer paper. Parchment paper is good too for your design, all right? So starting with this, what you're going to do is to actually peel your design off of this paper. So I have my little weeding hook, and I'm going to peel my design, and be gentle so that you don't tear your design, but you're gonna peel your design off of your paper. Let me zoom in some for you. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just peeling that design off. I'm gonna take my hook to kind of just go underneath. Try not to poke a hole in your paper. But yeah, this is a tedious process because you can rip your design, so just be easy, be gentle. No need to rush here. And you're just gonna peel it off, okay? So this is what it looks like. That's the opposite side. And then from there, you would just place it where you want it, okay? And again, you can reuse this paper for something else. So you still have all of this, you can reuse it for something else. And what I'm gonna do now is to take my parchment paper, put it on top of my design. I can see that my design is laid flat, it's not folded on top of itself. So what I'll do now is to just take my easy press, and I'm gonna press down firmly and just go over the entire design. Okay, so probably can't see that steam coming off, but this is what the finished design looks like. I'm gonna try to zoom in for you so you can see. And I may need to hold it up for you. So this is what the finished design looks like. You can hardly see, but you can see that beige layer around the design, okay? And again, I use my Easy Press, but if you have I use my Easy Press Mini, but if you have a regular heat press or one of the larger Easy Presses, probably will be easier for you to do this. And yeah, that's what it looks like. So with this, you can touch it, you can feel it. I will say the difference with sublimation is that the ink is actually infused into the shirt, so it just feels like the fabric of the shirt, okay? So again, this is the printable heat transfer paper. Now, we're gonna move over to sublimation. Okay, so let me get ready. So I have my printable heat transfer, I have my heat transfer tape here. It's not printable, okay. So I have my heat transfer tape here. This is what it looks like. It looks yellow. Just gonna stick it to the side until I'm ready for it. And now what I'm gonna do is to take my scissors and just cut my design out. I'm actually just gonna cut across the top here. Okay, now I can use this for another sublimation project, okay? So now I'm just gonna cut around my design here. And again, with sublimation, my Cricut does not need to cut around anything. I don't need my Cricut at all. So what I'll do now is to just lay my design where I want it to go. And this is where your heat resistant tape is going to be very important, because what you don't want to happen is for your design to move around, because it's gonna create what they call ghosting, and that's whenever your design, it basically like smears, and we don't want that to happen, okay? So I'm just going to put some tape down. Okay, and do what works for you when it comes to putting this heat resistant tape down. If you want to just go around the borders, do what works best for you. And what I'm gonna do now is to take my easy press and do the same thing. So I'm gonna try not to move the paper, but I'm pressing firmly for about 10 to 15 seconds on each part. Okay, so let's see how this is gonna look. I would have to redo this project again, but let's just peel up our tape. Okay, all right, so that is what our sublimation looks like. Okay, let me hold it up for you so you can see a little bit better. This is what the sublimation looks like. I think it looks really good, and again, it's infused into the fabric of the shirt. And this is what our printable heat transfer paper look like. You can see the difference in color over here versus over here, and yeah, that's the difference between the two. So let me just take this out. Let's check for bleeding through. Nothing on the back side of this shirt. So remember always to put a barrier between your shirts. And yeah, so this is the difference between the two. Yeah, so let me know in the comments what you think. Now, again, just to give you a quick recap, when it comes to sublimation, you need 100% polyester or a high polyester count. So 65% all the way up, the higher the better, so your design will not look like it's, you know, kind of washed out or faded. And then with sublimation, you can also sublimate on tumblers, you can sublimate on puzzles, on mugs, so many different things, but you will need a sublimation printer. You cannot use that printer to print you know, on regular paper and use it for sublimation. That's not possible. If you're sublimating, that printer only has to be for sublimation. Okay, you're gonna need a sublimation printer. You're also gonna need that sublimation ink, and then you're gonna need that sublimation paper as well. And then obviously your blanks, you're gonna need your heat resistant tape, you're gonna need some parchment paper. But yeah, sublimation, super easy. You don't need a Cricut machine at all. And if you want to go the route of printable heat transfer, remember that you're gonna have to have that border. So I'm gonna show you again so you can see. You're gonna have to have a border around your design, especially for something like this. With sublimation, we did not have to have a border. There's no border around our text or our letters. But remember, with printable heat transfer paper, you do need the border, okay? With printable heat transfer paper, you can make shirts, you can make tote bags, you can make a variety of those heat press projects, but you cannot, you know, put it on mugs and things like that. It's only for, you know, certain materials that allow you to apply that heat to them. No puzzles, no mugs, no tumblers, things like that. And then, as I mentioned before too, you know, with the heat transfer vinyl itself, trying to recreate this design with heat transfer vinyl, you're gonna need all the different colors on hand, okay? So this is just a few colors. I guess the only one that's missing here would be just a solid color black to kind of, you know, go around some of these pieces. That's gonna take a lot of time. You're also gonna have to dissect this design too, which you probably don't have the skills to do. And if you do, you know, kudos to you. But that's the difference between sublimation, printable heat transfer paper, and heat transfer vinyl. If y'all have any questions, please put those down below in the chat. I hope that this video was helpful. Which one do you use? Tell me, which one is your favorite to use? Do you like using sublimation? Do you use printable heat transfer paper? Or do you use HTV? Do you thug it out and do you, you know, layer your design? So let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching.